Everyone has that one game that they just cannot escape from. No matter how hard you try, something always brings you back into it. Recently, I found myself reflecting on a lot of the experiences that I had with Team Fortress 2. I opened the game and loaded into a casual game on a map that I've always had wonderful memories with. Upon loading into the game, I'm greeted by a terrible sight. I walk out of spawn and I get immediately killed through a wall by a sniper on the other side of the map, and my ears are getting blasted by music and annoying sound effects. The game is borderline impossible to play, and it made me extremely upset. It made me think back on my experiences with this game, and it all started back in 2014. My friends from an old neighborhood came over to my house and introduced me to PC gaming and Steam. They told me that we were able to voice chat on the app, as well as play games together. I used to use my parents' phone all the time to talk to my friends, so this worked out very well. I mostly spent time playing my Wii or PlayStation 2, so the shift to PC gaming was quite an unfamiliar one. I'd played a lot of Roblox and Minecraft, but anything else was quite difficult. A close friend of mine introduced me to a game called Team Fortress 2. I was never a huge fan of shooter games, so going into it, I was quite skeptical. On April 26th of 2014, I installed the game and played it for my first time. I was alone, but I quickly loaded into a match. The first ever match I loaded into was Upward, which is a map where the main objective is Payload Escort. The first class that I tried was Scout. The Scout is a quick run and gun shooter character. I wasn't very good at shooters, and by the end of the game, I had maybe 1 or 2 kills with tons of deaths. I was absolutely terrible at the game. It didn't help that I had no idea what I was doing, or how any of the classes really worked. I continued to play on various random maps and found a class that I think I played the best at. It was the Pyro. So the thing about the Pyro is, it's not a hard class to play. You just walk and hold your mouse down. So I spent the next few months doing exactly that and familiarizing myself with the game more and more. I eventually figured out how each class works, and I got invested into the game's lore. You see, each of these characters had a small animation made for them. These were the Team Fortress 2 Meet the Team movies. Each one introduced the character's personality in a really fun and charming way, and I've yet to see a game market a character's personality in 2 minutes in a better, more efficient way. I love these animations a ton because they really showed off just how charming the universe is. Sure, it's a shooter, but it's stylized in such a way that somehow it never really felt like a shooter game to me. This was the sole reason why I kept playing this game. There were so many weapons, weapon combinations, classes that allowed you to make a playstyle that really suited you. The amount of classes was just the right numbers that it was really easy to understand. Each class had a variety of different weapons that you could choose from that had a variety of differences between them. This allows you to make certain loadouts that really define your playstyle. There's also a ton of different game modes: attack and defense, capture the flag, control points, king of the hill, payload, payload race, and a few more miscellaneous game modes. Each one has varying objectives that are simple to understand. When I was new, it seemed like so much, but once it's broken down, this game is pretty simple. I continued to play the game on and off for a while, but I soon went down a YouTube rabbit hole. Enter Source Filmmaker. Valve released a piece of software called Source Filmmaker to the public in 2012, and it was used to, well, make source films. Team Fortress 2 had a massive community for Source Filmmaker movies, or SFMs. Creators would make tons of animations or shorts with their own small stories or humor added to them, and this would make the Team Fortress 2 universe become massive. A lot of them were parodies of various skits or whatever was trending at the time. While none of it was ever canon, it allowed the fanbase to do some crazy things, and Valve supported it. In 2011, Valve introduced an annual event called the Saxton Awards. This was an award given out to creators who made the best SFMs in their respective category. This event was annual from 2011 until 2017, where it would go on an indefinite hiatus. If you won in any of the categories, you won the Saxy. It was an in-game melee weapon reward that winners could use to show off. I loved SFMs, and I still do to this day. They made me realize that even visually, Team Fortress 2 holds up very well for a game from 2007. Unfortunately, SFMs are a lot less popular, and it's very unfortunate because some of these really hooked community members like myself into this game and its universe. A lot of animators also use Gary's Mod as another way of making memes and short stories, and they were fantastic. Watching these drove me to continue playing the game even more, and they got me interested in hats. Listen, I know that's a weird thing to say, but hats are a huge deal in the Team Fortress 2 community. You see, there's so many of them, and some of them look nice, so I put some of my allowance into the game. Now, I know, this is a bad idea because it's a game that uses crates to unbox things, and I was younger. But you see, I was not a fool. You see, a popular part of Team Fortress 2's community is also its trading. If you buy a key, this key can be used as a way to make millions. I'm talking about a fortune. I bought 4 keys, which is equal to $10 at the price of $2.50 each. With my first key, I bought about 50 cents worth of hats. Okay, so maybe trading isn't meant for everyone, but this meant I had cosmetics. I equipped them and was absolutely dripped out with the maximum amount of swag one could have in 2016. With the rest of my money, I was scammed and learned a harsh truth about reality. Do not gamble or invest money into games. But it was a learning experience. I soon learned about various websites such as scrap.tf and backpack.tf. These websites gives you ways to quickly buy and sell your items, as well as get pricing on items. With this information, I knew I had the potential to make millions of dollars on this online video game. With my next allowance money, I bought 4 more keys and began sniping discounted offers and quick sales, and for about a week, I was up a few dollars. Then I went onto a trading server and got scammed out of it. I then threw in the towel, knowing that I would never find success in Team Fortress 2 trading. Until a year later, when I put $20 into the game and began trading once more. During this time trading, I learned about community servers and dedicated servers for trading in various game modes. I definitely spent a lot of my time on community servers compared to casual games through normal matchmaking, but I still found myself playing a lot on both. Community servers featured custom maps, like maps themed after Minecraft or other various games, or just entirely original designs. I remember spending a lot of time on trade servers trading a lot, but there were a few game modes that I spent a lot of time playing on as well, such as Death Run and versus Saxton Hale. Death Run servers in Team Fortress 2 were a fantastic casual time killer for those who are bad at shooting people in the shooter game, such as myself. Death Run servers made me realize that there was just something about this game's community that was really fantastic. It was awesome taunting with other players, using the game's voice commands to create some hilarious moments. There's so much simple fun to be had in this game outside of just shooting people and playing the main game. The fun mechanics that the developers introduced allows for some of the most bizarre but greatest times that I've ever had in the game. The other community game mode that I often played on was versus Saxton Hale. These servers had an overpowered custom class of Saxton Hale where one random player would be selected to become them and the rest of the players would have to work together to defeat them. It was simple and fun and had a bunch of jank moments that I still remember as clear as day. So yeah, Team Fortress 2 does have a canon lore and I would love to talk about it. However, unfortunately, I am very stupid. Team Fortress 2 has a ton of comics that you can sit and read through. However, I haven't read any of them and they've also been on hiatus for a few years now. I'm noticing a trend with this whole hiatus thing. During this time, I learned more about the deep mechanics in Team Fortress 2 and more about how everything works in general. Team Fortress 2 has a random crit system, and it is the single greatest system. Whenever you shoot or hit someone with your melee weapon, there's a small chance that you will crit them. Critical hits deal a ton of damage, and I have no greater dopamine rush than when I run up to someone with a frying pan or a fish and just hit them with a random crit. It kills them instantly and makes me feel powerful. There's one more major mechanic that I should mention, one that I could never master or get good at, one that only the best of the best can master. Rocket jumping. Team Fortress 2 runs on the Source engine, which is notoriously known for its movement. Adding mechanics to expand onto the ultra-responsive and smooth movement allows for something really special. When he shoots the ground with a rocket from his rocket launcher, he isn't flying in the air at high speed. You can continue to shoot rockets at walls to keep flying across the map. This means on some maps, you can go from one side to the other without even touching the ground. There's a ton of other movement options in this game, and if you know how to use them, it can make for some crazy plays. Team Fortress 2 is a pretty complex but simple shooter game where you can do a lot. But what if I told you Team Fortress 2 is more than just a player versus player shooter game? It is known as Man vs. Machine. Man vs. Machine is a game mode where you and a group of players team up to fight against a ton of robots. They come at you in waves, getting progressively harder, but they drop money when killed, and with that money you can buff yourself. I love this game mode, and I remember spending forever playing it as a scout where I would just increase my movement speed and jump height just because it was fun to do that. Looking back on it, I was probably a terrible teammate, but who cares? Who can't have a little bit of fun in their PC shooter game? I never thought much of Man vs. Machine until a little after I got into trading. I had learned of a certain weapon, one that would bring in thousands of dollars if I earned it. The golden frying pan. This is a very rare weapon that you can earn by completing a paid Man vs. Machine game, and when I heard of it, I threw some money into the game for my allowance to test my odds. I learned that Man vs. Machine is not a simple game. A lot goes into making a good team and doing the right things to ensure that you don't fail to wave repeatedly. You have to rely on every single one of your teammates to defeat these robots, while even more of them are still showing up. It's not always easy, so I turned to YouTube tutorials to educate myself on how to be a good Man vs. Machine player. After watching the videos, I completely forgot everything the video told me, and after being kicked a few times for performing poorly, I kind of eventually figured it out. I completed my first set of Man vs. Machine games, and per every set completed, you can cash out on your rewards where you have a chance to earn the golden frying pan. I remember getting to the rewards screen, and when it became my turn, I got a kill streak kit. This is worth basically nothing, but I thought, of course I wouldn't get it on my first time, so I kept going, and I still didn't win anything worth money, but I thought, maybe next time I'll win the jackpot. No, I stopped playing Man vs. Machine for a while. In 2016, Valve released the Meet Your Match update for Team Fortress 2, adding an updated matchmaking system and competitive gameplay. I love this update. It made it so much easier to queue for maps, and I had a cool little badge to show how much I had played the game. This update came with a ballot. One of the classes was going to get a big update in the next major Team Fortress 2 update. This was a competition between the Heavy and the Pyro. I voted for the Heavy because the Heavy was cool, and most people voted for the Pyro, and the Pyro ended up winning the competition. In October of 2017, the Jungle Inferno update was released. A massive update adding new maps, a bunch of new items, and balancing changes, as well as giving the Pyro his weapons and items. This update also added something called Warpaint. These were skins that you could apply on certain weapons, and they were awesome item additions into the game. The update also gave access to a contracting system, which gave you missions that you could do to earn rewards. This update is where I finally ended up becoming somewhat alright at the game. This was, unfortunately, the last major Team Fortress 2 update to date. However, there's still one update that Team Fortress 2 does receive that means the most to me out of every update that Team Fortress 2 has ever done. Every year, Team Fortress 2 releases an update. It's not big, it's not huge, it's not something extravagant, but it's always been a highlight of my year. The Team Fortress 2 Scream Fortress updates. These are events done every year that enable a ton of Halloween-themed Team Fortress 2 maps, as well as adding a new crate full of Halloween-themed items each year. These maps have a ton of shenanigans going on by enabling spells and various bosses to spawn. I love this event a lot because every year since the first year I started playing, I would always play it, and each year there has always been contracts available to earn rewards from. Even though the rewards are just vanity that are exclusive to the Halloween event each year, I have a moral obligation to complete each contract to get the rewards. These are the most fun times that I've had with the game. I remember I would always hop on with a bunch of my friends, and then we would play the new maps together and then go back and play some of the older maps. We would complete our contracts and see what we would get from them. This tradition continued until 2 years ago in 2021. You see, for a while now, Team Fortress 2 has had a major problem since 2020, where bots would enter casual lobbies with cheats enabled, such as aimbot and the ability to shoot through walls. Since they're playing as the sniper class, if you get shot in the head, you die immediately. This made games impossible to play. How am I supposed to complete these contracts during Halloween where I have to kill enemies if I can't even get out of the spawn to do that? Thankfully, Team Fortress 2 does have a vote kicking system, but unfortunately, the second you kick one, another one would join, or there would just be too many of them to kick due to the cooldown. I powered through it for about 1 year, but in 2021, me and my friends just couldn't. There were way too many bots. When I think of Halloween, I think of Team Fortress 2. It's the first thing that I think about. The Scream Fortress event is amazing, and every year I look forward to it. I wouldn't be lying if I said how upset it made me and how boring my Halloweens were after I couldn't play this event anymore and have fun with it. I log into the game for Halloween, I can't do anything but die, and it's impossible to do anything. So, I sit there, alone on Halloween, playing a shooter game from 2007 on my computer, getting killed by lines of code repeatedly in an endless loop. I eventually throw in the towel and go to bed. Not being able to do my Halloween tradition that I've upheld since I was very young because the game that I loved was being taken over by terrible people and their bots. The game was effectively unplayable. There's nothing you can do, there's nothing to do but just sit there and slowly accept that one of my most favorite games and my most favorite tradition of all time, it was over. A few years passed, and during this time, community members tried to do their best to find workarounds. The Faceit client, modded clients with their own servers, protesting on Twitter so much to get an actual response from the official Team Fortress 2 Twitter account. The response may have increased the rate of bug fixes and super minor updates, but nothing as big as the Jungle Inferno update like the community would have wanted. Nowadays, Team Fortress 2 is kept alive by its community. The developers throw in some new community maps and hats for Halloween, and a new, still minor, Christmas event themed around both. For Halloween, they still enabled the contracts to do again for more rewards, but even if you want to, these events are still unplayable. There are just too many bots to play the game casually. It's now 2023. Valve announced that they would be doing a summer update for Team Fortress 2, similar to the Halloween and Christmas updates that they do each year. Team Fortress 2 already releases a crate each year for summer anyways, so what are they going to do, just temporarily add some new maps? It's great to see it getting something new, but unfortunately, the bot crisis still lives on. A few weeks ago, I was lost in thought. I was thinking about Team Fortress 2's Halloween event. I was reflecting on the Halloween event and everything that this game gave to me. The moments, the fun, the experiences. It was one of my favorite games of all time after all. I reinstalled the game, but I knew that it was a bad idea. I stayed hopeful. At the start of the video, I mentioned that I had queued for a casual match for my first time in a while. It was on Harvest, one of my favorite King of the Hill maps and one of my favorite Team Fortress 2 maps of all time. I load into the game, I pick the scout, and I walk out of spawn, headshot immediately by a bot on the other side of the map. Suddenly, I feel a whirlwind of emotions hit me. I logged off the game, and even though it was early in the evening, I just went to bed. The feeling made me sick to my stomach. Maybe it was that I had some hope that the developers had fixed the problem. Maybe it was that I thought that I could relive some of those memories again. I was naive to believe that. A day before I wrote this, or before I even considered making this video, some part of me started thinking about Team Fortress 2. I ended up succumbing to opening the game once more. Knowing I would only be putting myself through pain by opening the game and seeing what's become of one of my favorite games of all time, I queue into a casual game, but this time on Upward. A few moments pass and I load into the game. Again, picking scout. I walk out of spawn like normal. I walked out of spawn like normal. People were voice chatting, making jokes. There were a few people tucked in a corner taunting and doing some shenanigans. The familiar songs from the taunts playing in the background. Everything was normal. The game that I have loved for so long, being unable to even have one normal match. Finally. I was so caught up in the happiness of the moment that I just stopped thinking about the bot crisis and played the rest of the game out like normal. I got a ton of kills, there were no bots, everyone was having fun. It was awesome. I love Team Fortress 2. I have no idea how a PC shooter game from 2007 is still capable of making me so happy while lacking any huge updates to really modernize the game. I know I said this before, but everyone has that one game that they just cannot escape from, and I don't really understand why, but there are moments like this where I'm thankful that I can't escape from this game, because it brought me such a feeling of happiness that I wish I could feel more often. Since writing the script, I have been playing more Team Fortress 2 casual matches, and even some man vs machine, trying to get the golden frying pan. Unfortunately, I learned I'm still bad with money, and didn't win a golden frying pan, but that's fine. I had fun, and that's more important. There's no greater feeling that this game can give me. Even if the fun is simple, taunting with other people, playing Death Run or various community servers, or just playing the game going for the objective. This game is timeless, it's irreplaceable, and I hope that maybe this Halloween, I can resume my old tradition. Since beginning to edit this video, Valve has released the summer 2023 Team Fortress 2 update, and it's great. For the first time in years, we finally got a new official game mode added, versus Saxton Hale. On top of new maps, new cosmetics, destroying previous peak active player count, it really does feel a step away from a full-fledged Team Fortress 2 update. Maybe, just maybe, we can see Team Fortress 2 receive a major update sometime in the future. Thank you for watching my tribute to Team Fortress 2. I know this video was a bit of a mess, but if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like the video, and let me know if your experiences with Team Fortress 2.